This is the Run&Shoot podcast with Ryan and Chuck. We're going to talk some sports, some current happenings, and all kinds of other cool shit that's going on. How's it going, Chuck?
It's going pretty good, man. Glad to be back on for episode 2, man.
Episode 2, we've had a nice little gap in between. The last time we were talking, we had a lot of excitement with the Titans going into the AFC Championship game. We know how that ended. You know, we didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but they got off to a pretty good start. Tell me what you were thinking going into that game.
Honestly, I still had, I was still nervous, still weary because, they were up like down 17-0 to the Houston Texans. Actually, it was like 21-0 or something like that, and came back and stormed back. So we knew this team that had the potential of just going off at any time. But I just felt like we had the running game to kind of sustain that offense to keep them on the sideline. But, at the end of the day, I felt like we got away from our game plan a little bit, especially in the second half when we panicked, when Mahomes ran the ball.
That was ridiculous. That's one of the worst plays, and it happened like...
I think regardless, you hit him out of bounds. Take the 15 yards, let him get a field goal, and let it go in the halftime tie.
You just wrap him up. I think Rashad Evans had him in the backfield, and he got out of that tackle
I think it's just a fear that, you can't hit nobody out of bounds now, or it's just a 15-yard penalty.
It was just a great play. I've never seen a quarterback scramble to their left and do something like that as far as a right-handed quarterback. Phenomenal play. You can't give that up in that spot. That was a huge, maybe the biggest play of the game.
I think it was. It broke our backs.
They came back. They did it. They went on to the Super Bowl and won that. So we had all that happen. The halftime show everybody got offended by, but, I thought it was pretty cool.
Hey, I didn't. I enjoyed the show.
Yeah, it was two pretty ladies up there doing what they do best, and they're in Miami.
Shakira.
They got to shake their butt a little bit,
Hey, it was the best halftime show I've saw in a very long time.
Absolutely it was. And there wasn't any wardrobe malfunctions or anything like that, so they made it clear on that. Also, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. That's happened since the last time, and I still am processing that. It blows my mind.
It's just hard to fathom. It really is because, it's just like in a blink of an eye, he's gone. It was a freak accident that happened. It wasn't like there was no downfall of him, like, he's about to, leave this world. But no, this is just all of a sudden, and make it even worse, his daughter was involved.
Yeah, and it's awful for everybody involved in that helicopter. You never really know. You got to take advantage of every day, right?
You do.
We're all going to die one day. Some deaths are just, like that one's lasting for quite a while. That was a pretty rough one.
It hurt a lot of people. It hurt a lot of people. So rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. We'll talk some more Kobe later on, too, as well as some other things.
Yes.
There's been a lot of other crap happen in the meantime. Moving forward, Chuck, let's go ahead and get things started with the opening drive.
Opening drive. So basically what this is a segment we're just going to just cover some national sports here that's just happened in the last week. And first of all, I want to kind of talk about the Daytona 500. Of course, it got rained out Sunday, and then they resumed the race Monday at about 3 o'clock. And, of course, it was exciting racing from pretty much from beginning to end. And as you know, that Denny Hamlin won the race for a third time in the last 5 years. That is awesome. That's an achievement on its own. You look at some of the greats that have raced at that track. Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, I can go down the line, but just going to save a little time on here. But the real story that came from the Daytona 500 was Brian Newman. He had
a crash.
It was scary.
It scared me. I thought watching it, and I wasn't watching it live, so I was watching right at the end of it. Once I saw what happened on Twitter, I turned it on, and you're seeing kind of the coverage because it happened right at the end of the race, right after the final turn. Right at that last little stretch.
It's like Dale Earnhardt when he died in the final turn, man. That's just racing. It's just like for the 199 laps that's raced at the Daytona 500, that final lap, it's just like it's time to buckle up and race. Boogity, boogity indeed. But to give an update on Ryan Newman right now, and he was hospitalized. They even had the black tarp up. Scary. Everybody thought he was, pretty much dead, but he wasn't.
It was scary. There wasn't much movement coming from the cockpit there, it didn't look like, and they did have the black screens, like you said, as they were pulling him out, so you expect the worst, but you're hoping for the best, and luckily, he came out of it.
He did. So, just to
miraculously.
If you hadn't heard of the update by now, the Ryan Newman woke up from the hospital. He was responsive to his family, the doctors, his racing team, and he was able to walk out of the hospital with his family. So that is the man upstairs watching him over him, and it was a scary time. But that just goes to show you that's part of racing, that it has that danger element. I think every sport has it somewhere. Football has it with the concussions. Same thing with racing. They have it, it comes with the territory.
Very dangerous sport,
Very dangerous.
And there hasn't been a death since Earnhardt's. And again, rest in peace, number 3, the Intimidator. That was my dude right there.
I could do a segment all day on where was I on the day of Earnhardt's death. So just thank God that we did not have another one. And then that was like 21 years to the day that Earnhardt was killed.
Does it speak more to like the safety they're putting into the cars?
Absolutely.
Do you think at that time, before they put some of this stuff in after the Earnhardt wreck, do you think anybody survives that crash that Newman went through the other night?
I don't think so.
It was rough, man, as he flipped over and then he lands on his hood and gets hit on the passenger side by a car, from behind.
If it doesn't kill him,
pretty intense.
If it doesn't kill him, it ends his career. Heck, I don't even think he walks again, period. We don't know what could have happened, but it just goes to show you that the safety harness they wear around their necks, they're improving these cages in the cockpits of the cars and everything. So it just goes to show that NASCAR does take the safety efforts seriously.
And maybe something's working there.
It is working, definitely. But Daytona 500 was awesome. But I'll tell you what else was awesome. XFL Week 2, that was fun to watch.
The XFL has been fun. I've not watched it very closely. I've not delved in a ton. I've watched games when I could, watched highlights and checked out stats,
right,
like anybody else, because I'm always going to be one of those guys checking the stat line and seeing who's making waves out there. But so how has your viewing experience been with the XFL, Chuck?
Well, it's not as flashy as the NFL, but there's just sometimes the football fan in me doesn't want flashy. He just wants to watch football. This is basically what it is. Vince McMahon has lived up to his billing, that he wants to make a league for football fans. And I think it's so far, Week 2, it's early. We've not even got to talk about playoffs or I don't know what they're calling their XFL Super Bowl, if you will, but I'm enjoying it. I love the experience. The most I get a kick out of is the sideline reporting that is live during the game. You're getting the raw emotion of players. You're not getting it at halftime where you got a PR guy in your ear. All right, you need to calm down now before you do this interview. Hold face. This is not it. You're not holding face. You're catching the raw heat of the moment of a game.
You're getting the real deal.
You're getting it. And just give it time. Give it time. The NFL will steal that and put that on their sidelines.
Pat McAfee was awesome on there, too, as one of their sideline reporters, and he brings it. They had he was covering the punt from Marquise King, I believe, and he put one that was going to be down right on the one, and dude had to run through and touch it, try to make something happen, and ruined it.
He's like, what are you doing?
He gave it to him.
I think he's kind of like the Jim Ross of XFL, man.
He's got a chair. Oh, my God. He's got a wife and kids.
My God.
Oh.
Well, all I can say is someone's been eating their vitamins and saying their prayers.
God Almighty, it killed him. That'd be just. But I also love the conversions that they do. I think like at the 2-yard line, it's like 1 point, 2 points, 5, 3, and is at the 10-yard line.
Correct.
But it just goes to show you that no lead is safe. You could have a 3-point lead and thinking, they got to score a field goal.
You can see a lot less ties, I think.
You can't. I think this brings a lot of more competitiveness, more game planning, because you're used to get 6, kick a field goal, 7 points, and 8 at most you can get on a 2-point conversion. You add this 3 points, it adds another dimension to the game plan. I like the double pass.
Have we seen one of those yet?
Yes, there's been one.
Okay.
What I think it was like a jet sweep. It was. I think the DC defenders did it first. They did a sweep to like Cardale Jones tossed it to a sweep, a jet sweep, and the receiver throws it back to Cardale, and then Cardale just throws it like 30 yards.
But he still has to be behind the line of scrimmage when he throws it the second time, right? Okay.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's neat.
Yeah, it's been good. The level of football has been pretty good. Defense obviously is a long ways ahead of the offense in most cases, it seems like, in the XFL.
It does, but you got to think about it at the same time. I mean, they don't have the same star power as NFL, obviously. I mean,
they haven't had the camaraderie of the time to mesh. They haven't. There's a lot that goes into an offense in football that deals with chemistry and just getting the reps in. So it'll come with time.
I just think it's working a lot better than the Alliance Football League. That was a disaster.
I just wonder how long it'll last. Like, how many years do you think that this can last, Joe?
If it keeps going on its projection, it could last 5 more years. It could last for a long time.
Tops, though. Do you think it sticks around and somehow works with the NFL at some point as like a feeder league? Or do you think, like, I don't know if it lasts 5 years.
It's a possibility it could last, but
I think they said McMahon is paying pretty much for everything for the first 2 years, right? That they're not even going to be close to making money. Probably for 4 or 5 years then, right?
That's what I'm saying. Alliance Football League didn't have that. They were just going by chance, to hoping that people would show up for games and hoping that they can get talent. Like, for a while there, did Memphis have Johnny Manziel there for a little bit?
No.
No?
No. He went up to the Canadian Football League for a little while, and then it just had not worked out. He threw a bunch of picks and I think a couple of games.
Now, I know Alabama Birmingham had the Trent Richardson, that's an NFL name, and, that puts butts in the seats. And that doesn't work like that. You got to have an actual product. When I look at the fans in the XFL, they're actually looking like they're buying in. It's not sold out, but there's a decent crowd there.
Yeah, is Trent Richardson in the XFL?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to check that.
I mean, I doubt it. I mean, that's a shame of Trent Richardson. I mean, when he got traded to the Colts, I thought the Colts were going to be a big, bad team.
So he was in the draft pool, but was not selected. Is that?
I think you just need to get out of town and just forget football from now on.
That's crazy, though, huh? He's not good enough to play in the XFL.
I think you just need to trot on. And
that's what this article here says. XFL commish Johnny Manziel, Trent Richardson, not good enough for the XFL.
That kind of shocks me with Johnny. I figure he would be on a team.
He was so good in college that, it was one of those that, I'll be honest, I believe the year we took Lewan, when we passed up taking Manziel, I was kind of disappointed at first, and I'll be the first one to say, totally wrong on that one.
Hey, we wouldn't have Bussing with the Boys if it wasn't for that draft, man.
They're doing a good job up there with that.
Hey, you guys are doing a great job. I enjoy it.
And he does a better job at left tackle, which makes me even happier. He did a great job down the stretch this year. When he first came out from his suspension and he was playing so poorly, him and Seffold both were not holding up their end of the bargain on the left side of the line. And you started to see the jokes online where they were like, well, maybe he was on the juice because now we see him without it. And that's probably that's probably unfair to say because he did play great down the stretch. Him and Saffold, that offensive line, did a great job. I'm sure we'll get into more of that.
Conklin played well.
Conklin did play well. We're going to have to talk a little bit later about will we re-sign Conklin? Probably not. I don't know. I don't think we will.
I would put a transition tag on him, but we'll jump into that one. We'll jump into that one a little bit later. As far as XFL, I'm looking for bigger and better things as we go along with the year.
You know what? My final diagnosis, I like it.
I like it. It's fun. It gives.
I hope it works. I don't know if it will.
It gives us something to do football-wise during the spring.
For sure, and I'll eat it up. If it's on TV,
I'll
watch it.
Even though we'll have March Madness and the opening day for baseball coming up, too, pretty soon. Also, we got the NFL Combine coming up next week. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I'll have to tune in and check out some guys. This is when I really start looking to see, who do we want to draft?
I've got my eyes on a couple of guys that I think would really benefit us down the line.
As far as coming to the Titans?
Coming to the Titans.
Who do you want the Titans to draft?
We definitely need some edge presence there. You know, I mean, obviously Chase Young is not going to be available for us. I would love, but I think we can wait later on in the draft. Darryl Young is a guy I'm looking at. Not Darryl Young, excuse me. Hold on just a second. Let me look at my notes. And this is bad because he's a Tennessee volunteer, and I should just go ahead and take off my Tennessee shirt on I've got right now. But anyways, it's Darrell Taylor. That'll be the one to look out. He's a good edge rusher that could hold up the end, and he's not the best overall pass rusher, but he does a decent enough job. I mean, Taylor's had averaged almost 9 sacks in his 3 years at Tennessee.
Wow.
So, I mean, he does enough to get it done. But like I said, that could go in the later rounds. But I want us to kind of like look at a quarterback just in case as a potential for the future.
Okay. Which quarterback do you have in mind?
One that you're not going to expect, Jacob Eason.
Jacob Eason. All right.
Yes.
Former Georgia. He transferred to Washington, correct?
He, to me, is the prototype of a quarterback. I mean, he's 6'4", 220. I mean, he
rocket arm.
Rocket arm. I mean, he's raw, though. He just, you know it's there. I mean, just think about if Tom Brady, if he comes, you draft Eason, because you know Tom Brady's not going to be there for like 1-2 years.
Oh, let's go ahead and talk about this.
Oh, Lord. You want to get the elephant
The Titans quarterback situation, where you saw Derrick Henry went ahead and put his guy out there as far as saying he wants to get Tannehill. He thinks he can be the guy. But, in the Brady rumors, they probably are just rumors as far as the interest in bringing him to Nashville or his interest in coming here. Him and Vrabel have ties. They played together. There's a lot of similarities between Tennessee and New England that I could see it happening, and I think Tannehill did a great job.
He's done a wonderful job. I mean, Henry's going to back his guy up. I mean,
right. He did a great job, but if Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, the greatest quarterback that we've seen in our life especially, if he wants to come, I think you got to give him whatever he wants, bring him in, but do what you can around him, and go for a title.
Are you willing to pay that money, though?
Yes.
All right, here's a rumor I want you to understand. Las Vegas, this is a rumor, this is not factual, but they have come out and they said Las Vegas would offer a 2-year, $60 million deal to Brady.
Yeah.
Would you offer that kind of money?
Yes, do it. 2 years of Brady?
No.
I mean, you do the 2-year and maybe even give him the player option for the second year, and he may not even be coming back. He wins a title, rides off into the sunset with the Tennessee Titans.
I'd give him
be cool with it.
I'd give him a 1-year, $22 million deal. There's no way I'm paying $30 million.
It's not my money.
It's not my money, exactly. Now, the Titans have a 14th highest salary cap in the NFL. That's their money. They do whatever they want with it.
Pay Henry, right? Bring in Brady. Try to find a way to work out the deal with Corey Davis too, because they didn't accept his option. I think he's on his last year with us. They did not. Right?
Well, they did that with Conklin. Now I think they're finding out that's a mistake.
Do you think would you re-sign Conklin, and do you think we can afford him with the other contracts that we're going to have?
I think you put a transition tag on him.
Is that possible? I don't know how that works necessarily with the rules.
I think he's available for it.
Okay. What does that imply?
I think it mostly implies like a team can make an offer on it, but it has to set like a certain kind of number.
And we get the pick otherwise? Okay.
Right. So if, like, for example, we put I think the transition tag works. Well, it works like a franchise tag. 1 year, whatever the tackle gets paid for in a franchise tag. But an NFL team can swoop up and say, we'll match that, if not pay more.
Okay. We'll have to fact check that, but that kind of makes sense.
I could be wrong, but Conklin is not the important piece, but he isn't a piece that we could use to help us push on to keep that line together.
There's going to be one of these guys that we're not going to want to lose, that we're going to lose, unfortunately. But it's not going to – there's no way it could be Derrick Henry. You got to give that guy the money that he has earned. You give him –
Do you pay him
top running
$13,
back
$15 million a year?
Yeah, I think easy.
$12 million I'd offer him.
Otherwise, you let him walk?
Well,
I don't think so. I think he's holding all the cards here.
But, I mean – There's been running back contracts that's not worked out.
Well, that's for sure. That happens. I mean, any contract
it
could
happens.
not work
I get
out.
it.
Injuries, decline in production.
But that's lessons we should pay attention to. as well. That's lessons we should look into. I mean, look at for example, I used DeMarco Murray before he came to Tennessee. He got a big contract with the Eagles, and it goes to show that DeMarco was only good as his offensive line was as a Cowboy when he won the rushing title. He goes to Philadelphia, didn't fit the game plan with Chip Kelly, and it blew up in their face.
What happened whenever we brought him in, though?
It worked out. That's what I said.
He played great here in this system. If when we're talking systems, I think Henry's in the right system. We saw that.
Now, I will say that Henry is in a right system. He's not in a system like the spread formation. It is ground and pound.
You don't think he's earned all the money that he's demanding?
He's earned not top running back money.
Give him the money. Give him the money. Try to sign Brady. Make it work around that. You
maybe top five money. Top five money. That should just go to show that that is enough. Top five money.
In this offense, would you rather have Henry or would you rather have Zeke?
Ooh.
When you talk that money, if he's getting Zeke money,
which
one would you rather have?
As of right now, obviously I would have Derrick Henry because of his postseason run alone.
He won the rushing title.
He won it. He did win it. But I look at what he did in the postseason, and it was magnificent. It single-handedly got us to the AFC Championship. So if you're going to bring that up right now, as that fact, I would say Derrick Henry's the guy I go with.
Pay the man.
So you say pay the man.
Pay the man.
All right. In other news, after the NFL Combine, I got one. Myles Garrett reinstated.
Yeah, bring him back. I think he's being dumb with the whole racist remark thing. I don't think that happened.
I agree. I think also Mason Rudolph needs to forgive.
Yeah.
Roll on, man. It was a freak accident. It wasn't a freak accident. It was a freak thing that happened. If the player wasn't there, yeah, he probably would have got every bit of that helmet on top of his head.
I think Mason Rudolph looks like an idiot in this situation, too. He tried to rip Garrett's helmet off. He didn't successfully do that. And then Garrett ripped his off and hit him with it.
Why would you charge a sack machine and he's big, he's 6'6".
Right. Does what he did warrant getting whacked over the head of the NFL?
It's both their fault. It's both. The swing and the helmet on top of the head, all right, that is uncalled for. You can't do that. That is a no-no. You don't do that stuff. But as far as now, we're looking into now. That is several months removed. Now we're in the now, reinstated, let's move on. It's done. It's
probably been a blessing for Myles Garrett. They weren't making the playoffs anyways. No. He got some extra rest.
Now, they did a smart thing to shut him down. That's the way you need to do it. With that kind of controversy like that. Now that we're going into the new league year, let's move on.
So, go ahead and hit on some of those NFL offseason moves that you've been noticing there, Chuck.
The first one I noticed, I think, is going to be a huge get for the Seahawks. That is Greg Olsen. That is huge. 1 year, $7 million. That is, that is just adding another dimension to that offense I think is already strong.
Russell Wilson, one of the most underappreciated guys in the entire league, and he's going to get a tremendous playmaker at tight end if he can stay healthy. He loves to target the tight end.
Did you know Russ was lobbying for Olsen?
Oh, I could imagine. Who wouldn't be if that guy?
They said he was the power force driving for that deal. He wanted, so that you're getting a tight end that you want, and that's going to work out. And on top of that, you got Metcalf, you got Lockett. So to me, all of a sudden, you've got a dynamic receiving group that's going to be a force.
Oh, for sure. I think they still need to try to find a solution at running back. If they can get a playmaker at running back in there and keep some consistency with the O-line, which played better.
I think the playmakers are there. They just don't need to have the freak accident of having both getting hurt in
you can't
in a row.
You can't always prepare for that. It's one of those things.
I think the running backs are there. Kaysen and Hart and Penny are both they're good.
You have better options though. I think you explore them.
If you're going to work on anything on that offense, get that offensive line bulked up.
For sure.
They've got to get it bulked up.
For sure.
Drew Brees has come out and he will return to New Orleans.
Not a big surprise there, I don't think.
I think he came on Instagram saying, "Let's get it." So.
He's got 1, maybe 2 more years to chase a ring.
Right.
Once he wins that ring, I see him retiring, right?
Maybe.
If he wins that ring,
it's kind of like the bus moment when Jerome Bettis won the title. He went out on top.
And you look at it in his shoes. He's an ultra competitor. He's got one of the best teams he's ever had around him, and they've been in the hunt pretty much every year. So why would you not at least give it one or two more runs?
You give it a try, you got to. I mean, Breeze has still got it.
You saw Taysom Hill got pissed off.
About what?
I don't know. It's probably not that as dramatic as that sounds, but apparently he thinks he's a starting quarterback.
Come on. Really?
He's unique. He's a playmaker. He's
really
Tim Tebow-esque a little bit
as far
as
I was
going to use
it.
abilities.
I was going to use it. He's more of the
not as good of a passer as Tim Tebow.
Running goal line quarterback like Tim Tebow was.
He's a playmaker. He does a lot of things out there. Him and Breeze together is a fun combination. Maybe you keep him around, and I don't know.
I would be tickled to death in the role that I was with the Saints because it's unique. His role is unique. He can return punts, kickoffs. He can receive. He can rush. He can pass. He could do it all.
Big difference in that payroll, though.
Yeah, I think that's where he's a little upset.
But if you're a team, are you going to give an honest look at Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback?
Negative.
No?
Negative.
I bet somebody brings him in if he hits free agency. I don't know the status of that. I don't know. Is he a free agent this year?
Yes, he actually is.
Okay, so he could hit the market. Maybe a team gives him a look.
I'd say X Factor role. X Factor role. You got.
I don't think he leaves the situation he's in
I'd
for
be
anything
honest
other
with
than
him.
a quarterbacking gig, and he's not going to get that as far as a starter.
No,
there's too many other good ones too.
We'll talk about it later in a second. There's just too much good quarterbacks out there that teams are going to look at.
You're right about that.
Jason Witten wants to play in 2020,
and I guess he will with the Cowboys.
So not necessarily. I think the Cowboys are going to let him walk.
They're going to let him walk.
Would that be a potential for the Titans to look at?
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, we signed Fisk to a deal with the Titans. First,
yeah.
Excuse me.
So, no, I don't want anything to do with Jason Witten. I don't want him playing for the Titans. I don't want to see him calling games anytime soon either. Whatever he does, no.
I've
got Dallas.
I've got two teams that I think would be good roles other than Dallas, either New Orleans or New England.
Okay,
with two great quarterbacks.
And who knows who's going to be the quarterback in New England next year?
That's why I said it second.
Probably
don't know.
Tom Brady, let's be honest.
But Adrian Peterson's option did get picked up by Washington, so he will return for 2020.
Good for him. He's played great everywhere he's been.
I mean, he's been mediocre, but he's in the twilight of his career.
Well, he's also got mediocre touches in games, too. If you don't he's another running back that, you had a lot of hate on Derrick Henry earlier on in his career, not you in particular, but a lot of people did. But you were also on that bandwagon as far as being like, cut the bum. He's not, cutting up field. The problem was we weren't using him right, and he wasn't getting the amount of carries. You're going to have those 1-2 yard gains, 2 yard loss, and then he's going to break one. He's going to start wearing down those defenders. You've got to give a guy like Adrian Peterson, you got to give him the ball a few times. But they've been trying to get, Darius Geis. I may not be saying his name. They're giving him chance. Correctly.
I think it's Geis.
He stays hurt.
So
this is their insurance policy.
His
for that.
knees are a major problem. Geis's knees are major, and that's a shame because I think he's a good running back. It's a shame.
They tout him to be. I haven't seen much out of him yet.
Watching film on him at LSU, he is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, he has that potential to be good. Jordan Reed is going to be released by Washington after he clears protocol.
Another often injured player. He's been concussed too many times. No, thank you.
I had him on fantasy team, and when he was hot, he was hot.
He's a great player, former Florida Gator, matter of fact. But he is just he's had way too many concussions. I think he had one this past season. Was it earlier in the season? You could tell he was very frustrated with that. The same with Luke Kuechly. Sometimes guys are just more susceptible, and I think it's time for him to hang them up.
I think there's going to be somebody out there for him. There's always teams needing tight ends.
Oh, for sure.
Somebody will get him.
For the right price.
I could see him going to Miami, maybe Arizona. Arizona's always clinging to a tight end. They need one to kind of go with Kyler Murray. That'd be neat.
Yeah, and Larry Fitz came back at least for one more year too, right?
Yeah,
Speaking of Arizona.
Well, he sees the potential there. He sees the potential that he has with that team. They're just a couple more pieces away, especially on defense. Their defense is
Did you agree that
joke.
Murray was the offensive rookie of the year?
Negative.
Who was your offensive rookie of the year?
Well, obviously A.J. Brown.
I'm with you on that, too. I don't think that's even a homer take.
Come on, he was the only 1,000-yard receiver. I mean, he outplayed his old college teammate Metcalf.
And our first 1,000-yard receiver, and I can't remember how long, on a team that loves to run the football.
Some of the plays that A.J. Brown made, if you watched any film, was almost effortless.
No one overall pick, quarterback. He played most of the season. He played pretty good.
And he played. I'm not saying that the guy's a bum. I'm just saying the guy can play ball.
Yeah, he'll be good.
It's more of a perception. I got one more thing to add right there, and then we'll go ahead and pass on the NFL offseason. The CBA deal has pretty much almost moved forward with the owners. They got to get with the Players Association, which most of the time they drag things out, which is about retarded. Just get it done. But anyways, part of the CBA, the NFL playoffs will change. They're going to move to 7 teams.
I saw this, and they're going to eliminate one of the buys, right? Just one buy for the first round.
I love that. I love that.
It makes it that much more competitive for you to get that 1 seed.
So, way I see it, you're going to have your 4 conference champions, division champions, and you're going to have 3 wild cards. I think that's how it's set up. And so you got that one team that's on bye, and you got basically the Wild Wild West in the next – you're going to have 6 games, so that's going to be a lot of money that's going to come towards the NFL. That's the way I see it. They're just doing it for money.
So this year, the 2 teams that would have been what? The Steelers and the Rams?
Yes.
Do we feel like we should have had those teams in the playoffs? Do you think it would have made a difference?
Rams, yes. Steelers, no.
Steelers were just limping whole season.
I don't know how they made it.
Yeah, you got to give it to them for keeping it afloat for a little while.
But Big Ben returns. We could see a different Pittsburgh team. We don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen there, too. Big Ben, he's not going to be around too much longer, but he's still got enough in the tank where he's going to give it another go.
I think this year you can tell the difference.
You think they draft a quarterback? I think obviously they're looking to draft a quarterback.
Well, there's Jordan Love available at Utah State.
Where do the Steelers pick? Because they almost made it, so they're probably in the teens, right?
They're probably right in our level, like in the mid-20s.
Ooh, they don't have a first-round pick. They traded it for Minka Fitzpatrick.
That is right.
So that's one of the first-round picks that the Dolphins
Which
had.
I think that worked out for them because their safety play has been a lot better since he got there.
Yeah. He's a pretty good player.
He's a good player.
I think it panned out where a lot of people were questioning, should they have given up that pick? It's going to be a top 5 pick. Turns out, you know what? It was in the teens, and they shipped it on down there, and they got a pretty good safety out of it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we traded off our first-round pick. I would not be surprised.
For what?
Just with J-Rob, you never know, man.
And J-Rob we trust, but I think he really likes going out and getting his guys in the draft, too, and I think there's a lot of talent here. I don't know, man. If you're really trading away a first-round pick, what could we be targeting?
Well, I think first round, obviously, you go get your edge. You find the best edge rusher that you can find.
Who's going to be available in a trade?
Not sure. But it's not going to be Clowney. Clowney's going to get signed to a long-term deal with Seattle.
I feel like it's fun having Clowney in Seattle, too. They got him pretty cheap, I thought.
But he's not one of the premier pass. His name.
He played pretty well since he's got up there.
But he's not a gigantic sack leader like J.J. Watt.
Number 1 overall pick, complete freak athlete. He makes a difference. You have to double that guy every play.
He's a solid player to make it work. I would use some of that, maybe a first-round pick on one of the pass rushers in San Francisco.
Ooh. Are they going to be available? You got Bosa, you got Armstead.
Bosa, I could feel is off the table totally, unless you're really going to give up a lot for him.
Yeah.
I would take Armstead. Armstead's good. Buckner's good. But I just don't feel like I'm with you. I think J-Rob is going to really get his guys in the draft. Second round is why I really think it's going to really pick up steam for us as far as like skill position, like running back or quarterback.
Yeah, I haven't taken a real deep dive yet into the prospects that I'm going to be paying attention to. That's going to start, obviously, with the combine and some of these measurables coming out there. But the 2 needs I would think that you obviously go out and try to address pretty early is, like you say, you do want another edge rusher. You can't have enough of those in today's NFL.
You can't.
And go out and try to get a cornerback. And that's easily said. Easier said than done, but we got to go try to find a guy because one of these veterans that we have is not going to be sticking around too much longer.
We've got 4 running backs. Excuse me.
And when we say we're talking
corners.
Tennessee Titans as if we're part of the team. But you know what? That's just the way it goes.
Hey, we're fans. We're going to talk about it. We've got 4 cornerbacks that are free agents right now, and including Logan Ryan. I want him back.
He played great.
I want him back. I think he's a sound leader of that secondary.
I think he extended Dory, too. I really liked Dory Jackson.
I
think he's going to be solid
now,
for years to come.
He did play a key role in the Baltimore win. He shut down anything that came across his path.
The games that we didn't have him, you saw the void that's there without him in the game.
Right. So I think we go running back second round.
Running back second round, Chuck's calling it right here.
Dion Lewis is getting released, so we're going to have a back to give Henry a breather.
I hope we can find somebody in free agency, too. And I don't even know what that list of available free agents running back-wise is.
Do you know who a running back that nobody's talking about in free agency that could play a big pivotal role? Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon. Is he a free agent?
So far, they're not. I don't think they're tagging him either. Because, they got Austin Eckler. Eckler has filled the role perfectly in Las Vegas, the LA Chargers. So I think they're going to let him walk. If Melvin Gordon is available, that is awesome.
So he's entering the final season of his rookie contract this year.
Is it this year?
Maybe not. Let me do a little fact checking here because I'm curious about that myself.
I thought he was a free agent.
He may be a free agent. I'm probably wrong here. I think I'm reading an old article.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. Because, boy, wouldn't that be a big hit for the Chargers? They're already letting Phillip walk, and then now you got Melvin Gordon heading out the door as well.
And who goes out there to fill Phillip Rivers' spot, too? Are they just going to totally break it down and rebuild? Or
I've got it. When we get to our quarterback segment, I'll tell you all about it.
All right. Let's move it on forward then, Chuck.
Let's do it.
So that was the opening drive. We're going to move on to our next segment. Love it or chuck it.
Let's do it.
So, Chuck, explain this segment, how it's going to work. Basically, we'll go over a topic or an issue, and we'll decide if we love the situation or if we need to chuck it on out of here.
Basically, what Love It and Chuck It is, we'll make kind of like a future proclamation saying, for example, the Tennessee Volunteers are going to beat the Florida Gators in Neyland Stadium this year. And we'll either decide we love it or if we hate it, which we'll say chuck it. Which in Ryan's case, he'll probably say chuck it.
Let's run through these bad boys and see how it goes. All right, so starting with the first one here, Chuck.
Gotcha.
The XFL will become a legit league and maybe a farm league for the NFL. Love it or chuck it.
All right. I split this up into twos because this is, to me, it's like a two-part statement to me. The first one, XFL will become a legit league. I'm going to say chuck it because
not going to happen.
Let's be honest. They are nowhere near going to be the cash grab like the NFL is.
They've had a lot of viewership early, but I think the AFL and some of these other leagues starting up did have that. Let's see if they can hold on to some of that.
Now, they don't have to be a cash grab like the NFL to succeed. So with that being said, it carries on to maybe being a farming league for the NFL, like a minor league. Yeah. I love it. Let's do it.
And whether there's a direct affiliation or not, which you'd think eventually for both leagues to work. For the XFL to work, the NFL is not going anywhere. That there should be some collaboration. But all right, so you're Chuck the first idea that's going to be a legit league, but you do love the fact that it could be a good farm league for the NFL.
Look at the example. Cardale Jones is playing really well right now. He's been one of the best top passers in the XFL right now.
2 games in.
If you don't know who he is, basically Ohio State standout, took him to the national championship, but he's gone to the NFL and basically played backup his whole entire career.
Was he drafted by the Bills?
He was drafted by the Chargers.
The Chargers, okay, yeah.
And he and they were kind of like wanting him to groom him to be the replacement of Rivers. Never happened, though. Then he went to the Bills, and then didn't really pan out, goes to the XFL, and he is lighting the world on fire.
And he won the national title with Ohio State as their third-string quarterback a few years back.
But he has a big arm.
He does, yeah. And he's going to be one of those guys that could see you could see him working his way onto a team's roster, at least a practice squad, because with 2 different seasons, you can make that work.
So here's where I'm going to prove my point why I love it. So let's say after the league year for the XFL is over, let's say he's won MVP, he's won their world championship in the XFL, and he's had an outstanding year. His confidence is built. He feels good about himself, and you're basically still working with some NFL type coaches there that can help build you up. And when that happens, here comes the NFL, and that sees that, they could just say, hey, man, let's give him a second chance. He might be a backup, but then all of a sudden, let's just say a quarterback goes down for one team, and they had to bring in Cardale Jones. Next thing you know, he could be a starter, and he could be a star of the league. I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm just saying all because of the XFL building these players up. So
it gives them a platform to showcase talent.
I mean, think about it. Over half of the talent doesn't make it in the NFL, let alone be stars. So that talent's got to go somewhere. It's got to. So XFL is a perfect platform for that.
I think it's definitely a good thing.
It is. It is. I agree. So it's really exciting to see. So Ryan, I got one for you.
Let's hear it.
So as you know, the Memphis Grizzlies have actually played pretty well so far. So with that being said, Memphis Grizzlies, here's my statement for you. Memphis Grizzlies will go on a playoff run and wreak havoc in the playoffs.
I love it. I love it. I hope that's the case. They've been playing great ever since the first couple of weeks. Going into the All-Star break, team is very hot. Ja Morant going to be the Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
He's playing great and leading that team. I miss Mike Conley and the old school Grizzlies, but I think we're in safe hands with him and Triple J. Valanciunas, I've learned to love Valanciunas, who came over in the Marc Gasol
He's grown
trade.
on me, man. He's grown on me.
And they just made the trade to get rid of Iguodala's bum ass, who sat here and tried to collect a paycheck and refused to play with this fun team.
He's not worth the breath that we are speaking. Because that bum can go do whatever he wants now.
I agree.
I'm glad he's out of town.
But we brought in Justice Winslow in that trade somehow.
That was awesome.
I think once he gets healthy, he's going to be a tremendous part of this team. And if these guys can work together, if they make the playoffs, and if they make it out of round one especially, that's a big-time win.
That's awesome.
With a rebuilding team, a rebuilding roster, and being so young with a rookie point guard who's going to be a superstar. I love it.
You love it. Cool.
Moving on to number 3, Chuck. HBO's Hard Knocks 2020. The featured team should be the Tennessee Titans.
I love this.
You love it. You think it'd be a fun watch.
Well, here's the thing. Nashville, as you know, is a growing city music-wise and now sports-wise.
It is Music City, USA.
It is. But you look, Nashville is getting the exposure from music and economy-wise. I mean, they're growing businesses everywhere in Nashville. Now it's time to get a sports exposure a little bit. We've not had that kind of sports exposure since the Predators went to the Stanley Cup.
I think we're on the radar, especially after this playoff run. We put out the Ravens and we put out
the New England Patriots. So, I mean, but you look at this. I've really thought about this. If we got that exposure that we had in the Stanley Cup, imagine this kind of exposure. It doubles with the NFL.
I agree, and it could be a destination too, just because of the excitement. And you never know with this upcoming off season. Some big things could happen.
Let's say we do get Brady. Let's say we sign Derrick Henry, and that right there, just that alone, HBO is going to be drooling at the bit to see Tom Brady alone on a new team.
As a fan, do you think it's a distraction that's not worth having?
No, I don't. I mean, I enjoy the show. I mean,
what's the best record of a team that's been on Hard Knocks recently? Do you know that?
I think it's the New York Jets. I think
a little while back.
Obviously the Cleveland Browns last year. Nah,
train wreck.
But I mean, imagine
the Raiders. The Raiders. It was there last year.
Yeah, that was. Imagine Taylor Lewan on Hard Knocks.
Oh man,
that is just gold.
Well, there's a few personalities in that locker room that would be interesting.
The personality is there. Imagine getting Brady. Everybody will want to know what is the dynamic now.
So you love it. I would tune in.
I'd watch.
I'd tune in.
Set my DVR every Sunday night. As soon as I get off work, go watch it. Absolutely. So, Ryan, I got another one for you. The Atlanta Braves, as you know, they're the defending NL East champions. So, and since you're a Braves boy, I got this question for you. As you know, the NL East is stacked. They got the Washington Nationals, who are just coming off a world championship. You got the Mets that had ended the year pretty hot. And also, not to mention, you've got the Phillies, who've got some integral pieces and are just waiting to erupt. So, with that being said, do you see the Atlanta Braves, my statement here, are going to win the stacked NL East and go to the World Series? Do you love it or chuck it?
The fan in me loves it. The realist in me loves it. Honestly, it's a team that I thought last year the success they had were about 2 years ahead of schedule on their rebuild, as you call it. But this team is stacked. You still got Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis as far as veteran leaders.
Yeah,
you got
that's true.
Some of the best young studs in the league right now with
Cole Hamels, man.
Acuna, yeah, Cole Hamels brought in to help out with that pitching staff. Dansby Swanson out there. I love the lineup. We've got
the
a lot of
players are
other
there.
guys in the farm system that are going to be making their way up this year. I absolutely love it, and I expect nothing but big things out of the Braves going forward.
So you see them winning the NL East?
Yes. Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to touch off on that real quick. I don't think they'll win the NL East. I think Washington wins it. But I still believe Atlanta will go to the playoffs as a wild card team, and I think I like them better that way. Just think, Titans were a wild card team.
Hey, you know what? Just put us in the dance, and we'll do the rest from there.
There you go. But I don't think they win the World Series. I don't even think they go. I think it's just a quick prediction. I think it's going to be the New York Yankees and the L.A. Dodgers.
Boo on you.
Sorry, sir.
Moving right along. So, Chuck, the NCAA tournament will be the craziest March Madness that we've ever seen this coming year. Do you love it or chuck it? That's a big statement.
I love this because of the fact is, have you kept up with the college basketball, what's been going on a little bit on it?
A little bit.
All right, so you saw some of these upsets happening. I mean, there's been quite a bit. I've got some numbers for you, and this is according off Sports Center, Sports Illustrated, excuse me. They ran the numbers of the upsets that have happened this year, and there's been quite a bit. And the reason I love to see this to be the craziest March Madness we have ever seen is because of this fact. You look at the top 25 versus unranked opponents. This is so far in the season. This is not completed.
So you got Baylor at number 1 right now.
You got Baylor at number 1. You got Gonzaga at number 2. You got Kansas at number 3. And you got San Diego State, who is undefeated and sitting at number 4. And you got the Dayton Flyers.
26-game streak for San Diego State.
But they don't play nobody.
Well, we'll see. There's been a lot more parity, I feel like, in the NCAA over the past
If they make them number 1 seed, they're going to fail.
Well, we'll see.
I'm just calling it the way it is,
man. I mean, you want to fall in that spot, right, where you're playing the low seeds.
If I'm San Diego State, I need to lose 1 game at least.
I don't know.
I don't want to go undefeated.
Keep it going. Keep that roll going. Momentum goes a long way in the game of basketball.
Team that handles adversity, usually the team that wins the championships.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very early. You're going to see upsets. It's a game of streaks like basketball and regular season college athletics. You're going to see some, but I mean, you're seeing the cream of the crop rise to the top a bit. Right. San Diego State, if they continue on this streak, they're just as big of a player as anybody else when it comes tournament time.
Right. Exactly.
But you'll see, the big schools, the Dukes, Gonzaga, those guys that have been there consistent.
You will not see North Carolina.
No.
And that is sad. 10-16 this year.
Well,
That's horrible, man.
You go through ups and downs. You just don't see it at some of those schools very often.
Oh, my team's lucky to be making the tournament this year.
Well, UT had some turnover there, too.
Well, we lost a lot of talent. But anyways, back to my point of the top 25 losses. The top 25 losses have lost to unranked opponents 71 times.
Hmm.
That's so far this year. Usually the number is about an average 115. The highest losses to unranked opponents was 140, and that was back in 2017 and 18.
So you're saying that we could be in for a big, crazy March.
Well, if the numbers to my average, it should end at about 90 or 100. So the top 25, not so much. But here's the alarming number that I see happening. Look at the top 5 versus the unranked opponents. The top teams that are sitting on top right now that we just discussed.
Yeah.
Guess how many losses are there?
What you got?
14.
14.
And the average by the end of the season is 25. The alarming rate is there is not really an outstanding team out there that's taking it by the brass saying, I'm the team. Yes, Baylor's number 1, but they can lose at any time. Any team can lose at any time.
If you had to pick one team right now, who do you think wins it all this year?
The way that Kansas is playing right now, they are one of my favorites. I've got 2 of them. Kansas and sitting in the rim, in the wings, they're just slowly taking their time. Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky Wildcats. Wow.
And that takes a lot of energy.
Currently sitting at number 10.
They're just waiting. It's a Calipari team.
Yeah, they're going to be there.
And I think they have
always stocked full of talent.
They have an underrated bunch. They do.
Well, the team I pick every year on my brackets is Gonzaga. I would pick them again this year. They're always there, man, and they always have a big, deep run.
Always
you never know.
Always pick a 12th or 13th seed. Always, you got to pick at least one.
Yeah,
I can't wait. So, but that's it for Chuck It, Love It and Chuck It, man. But let's move right on into the next segment. It's called the blank game. So basically, what this is, we'll have a question, or actually a statement, and we'll have you fill in the blank. So with this one, we're going to do free agent quarterbacks or trade block quarterbacks.
So basically, fill in the blank.
Basically, yeah. So, Ryan, do you want me to go first or you want to go first?
Go ahead and hit me with the first one, Chuck.
All right. The first one, Ryan Tannehill. Let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room right now. Will be signed by blank.
I think Ryan Tannehill will probably be a Tennessee Titan again.
Okay.
And, that doesn't make me as excited as I wish it did, knowing some of the options and possibilities. The continuation with what he showed last year was excellent. I hated on the move when we brought him in, but he provided a spark. He was ready, and he played great down the stretch. He didn't play great in the playoffs, and you're seeing a lot of these talking heads on TV talking a lot of shit about Ryan Tannehill, but that goes to show you that they only paid attention to him in the playoffs. If you watch him in the regular season, he was clutch.
He was good.
So, yeah, I think he'll be with the Titans. I can't really even start to imagine where he would end up if he's not with the Titans. I mean, maybe he goes to Tampa Bay or something like that. Some of these other vacancies, I don't necessarily see that. Maybe he goes to Carolina. One of these teams that drafts a quarterback, and if he's not with the Titans, maybe he could go to one of the destinations. But I think he'll be in the two-tone blue.
Do you see him as an extension or as a franchise tag?
I think if you're going to sign him, you give him like 3 years.
Okay. So my thought on this for Ryan Tannehill. Well, actually, you know what? I'll let you finish out the list. Let's do number 2.
Number 2, Chuck, tell me your thoughts. Where do you think Phillip Rivers will get signed?
I had to do some soul searching on this because I hate Phillip Rivers. I can't stand him. He's a big mouth. So there's only one team I could see going that has this cap and that needs a quarterback. The Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, potentially. I've heard rumors that I think maybe he bought a house in Florida and that he could be the Tampa Bay guy too. That he could be potentially going down there to work in that offense. But Indianapolis is going to be an attractive place working for Frank Reich.
Frank Reich is a genius. I love that guy. When he was with Philadelphia and he was part of that Super Bowl winning team, I wanted him as offensive coordinator.
Quarterback whisperer.
He's a quarterback whisperer. He's good. So, but I see him signing him a 1-year deal. Just kind of like maybe, they still draft a quarterback, but they
better. That's not going to be the long-term answer. And
Jacoby,
as a Titans fan, I would look forward to kicking Phillip Rivers' ass.
I want to kick his teeth down his throat.
I like him. I've come to like him. He's a big crybaby. I like his bolo ties, though, and his crazy attitude. And apparently, when he's not playing football, you know what that guy's doing. He's making babies. He's got like 10 kids. But Phillip Rivers to Indianapolis, and hopefully he gets a big contract. He's got a lot of
It
mouths
only
to feed.
makes sense to me as a Titans fan because as a Chargers, when we played the Chargers, he always ran his mouth, and I couldn't stand it. So it only makes sense to me he goes to one of my most hated teams in the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts, because it makes sense. They've got weapons, they got the coaches, and they got a defense that can complement Phillip Rivers as well.
Okay.
So number 3, Teddy Bridgewater is also a free agent. He will be signed by blank.
So Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think he'll go anywhere to be the starter unless it's like a small bridge gap type situation. Again, maybe he goes to Miami. They're going to draft a quarterback, it looks like.
Okay.
There's been some rumors that there's some talk where they're trying to move up. I don't know if they would move up to draft Burrow. I think they could draft Tua where they're at if they wanted to do that.
They could.
And I think that's the move for him, to go out and get Tua. And maybe that's where Bridgewater goes, and you let Tua, you go in with the plan that he sits the entire first year. They're going into a deep rebuild. I think that's the move you go with. Now, I don't like any situation where you bring a guy in, especially like Teddy Two Gloves, and put him in a situation to go out there and lose week in and week out. Maybe they put a little bit of a competitive team around him, but bring in some veteran guys that can coach up this whole crop of younger guys that they're about to bring in Miami. Maybe Teddy Two Gloves can go there. Ultimately, he's probably going to end up re-signing as a backup somewhere, and maybe it's in New Orleans.
I have to counter you right there. I think he goes to Tampa Bay and gets a big deal.
You think he goes to Tampa Bay?
I think he gets Brock Osweiler.
Why would they get rid of Jameis, who just got eye surgery? He got LASIK surgery, which is hilarious after the first ever 30-30 season in the NFL. 30 touchdowns and 30 picks, and he goes, oh, shit. You know what? I need eye surgery.
And with that being said, 30 picks is enough to get your ass cut, period. So with that being said, I think Teddy Two Gloves goes to Tampa under Bruce Arians, and he played the first 5-6 games, and he played good. I see a Brock Osweiler situation.
Do you think he's an upgrade from Jameis with bad eyes?
Yes.
Do you think he's an upgrade from Jameis with fixed eyes?
I think he's a great upgrade from Jameis Winston, period.
Okay. All right.
I think he is an upgrade.
So moving right along, Chuck, and this one breaks my heart still.
Yeah,
so,
this one is.
And this is a guy that I'm going to root for no matter where he goes, because he's been a class act, and I think he's still got his better years ahead of him. Chuck, Marcus Mariota will sign with who?
I had to do a little soul searching here, a little bit. This one is going to come out of left field. I know I said it was probably going to be Chicago, but I changed it.
Okay.
It's going to be, he will sign with the Philadelphia Eagles to back up Carson Wentz. Here's why. Here's why I think this will happen. You go into a situation in Philadelphia, they have a good salary cap, so they'll sign him to a decent deal, and you play behind Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz is a top 5 quarterback in the league, in my opinion. But his health is very unreliable. So let's just say we have a situation where Wentz goes down. I think you bring Marcus in. I see a lot of similarities between Wentz and Mariota's play. They both can run. They both got strong arms, accurate-wise. And you've got Doug Peterson as the head coach that can help develop you. A guy that's been to the Super Bowl. A guy that has been basically an Andy Reid guy. And Andy Reid is a offensive guru on his own, helped develop Doug Peterson to offensive guru.
So you think Marcus Mariota goes to the Eagles a few years too late for Chip Kelly's liking, but ends up there backing up Carson Wentz? I could see it. I just hope that he goes somewhere that's outside the AFC South where we don't have to play him. Again, I think he's going to go somewhere and resurrect his career, and I hope for the guy that he does.
I think it's going to be slowly resurrected.
Yeah, we'll see.
Slowly. Where do you think he's going? Since this is both a question for us.
Marcus Mariota, I have no idea. I think, like you mentioned, Chicago, he could go there and possibly push for that job, I think, with Mitch Trubisky. They're losing patience with him there quick. Where else could he go? He could go to the Chargers.
That's another good one.
Potentially. I don't know that they're going to take that big leap, but they're going to look for somebody to come in there and run that offense. I don't know if they're going to be in their new stadium this next season or not. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I really have no idea, but I hope it's not to Indy.
I got another one here that's funny because Tampa Bay's always had their run with the opposite quarterback with Winston. Now it's like, let's try Mariota, the other number 1 pick.
The number 2 pick in that draft. He's got a lot of weapons there. He'd be the healthiest he's probably been in a long time with a great arsenal of weapons.
Stud receivers, 2 great tight ends there too. So that would be a pretty good situation to be in. Not to mention Bruce Arians as an offensive guru himself. So we move on from Marcus Mariota to his counterpart in the NFL draft when they were drafted. Jameis Winston will be signed by blank.
So Jameis Winston, I was kind of surprised that Tampa Bay didn't decide to re-sign him, and they still may give him an offer, but I could honestly see Jameis Winston. I know I just mentioned the LA Chargers, but I could see that being the case there. They're going to need to sell tickets. If Jameis is anything, he's exciting. He put up huge numbers this year, but he was so erratic with the ball.
He's
30
so
interceptions.
Horrible.
But he just had LASIK surgery. So can you imagine if he's seeing a blurry field and can't really even tell what the hell's going on past like 15 yards out? If they fix his eyesight, Jameis Winston's still a very talented individual with a rocket arm. He's one of the smart. Now, this may sound funny when you say he's one of the smartest guys on the field. When it comes to football smarts between the ears, they've said forever that this guy has just got it from an early age.
But that's where the line is drawn, though.
I don't know, man. We could see him do well somewhere else.
I guess 99% of his smarts in his head is on the football field, and 1% is outside of football.
I think you're right. The crab leg incident.
Crab legs, or like I'm eating W's. I'm eating my W's.
That was cringeworthy at best.
I'm sorry. I would have slapped him if he was my teammate.
Lord. All right, Chuck. Let's zip through the rest of these here too. So, moving on to the next free agent quarterback. Where do you think Derek Carr lands?
Well, he's not a free agent, but he could be on the trade block, as you know, the tumultuous relationship between him and John Gruden. And John Gruden will trade your ass off if you cross him. He's done it time and time and again.
They don't seem to get along quite well yet,
No.
so maybe he could be one of the buyers for one of these free agent quarterbacks as well.
Right. So I will say that Derek Carr will remain as now it's not an Oakland Raider. It is a Las Vegas Raider.
The Vegas Raiders.
So, but they will still either pick up a quarterback, either through the draft or free agency.
Okay.
They kind of like give him like you're on a very short leash kind of sign, you know.
I agree with that. I think he sticks around there in LA. I think he played well enough.
He did. So here's another one for you. Cam Newton. As you know, no Ron Rivera. A lot of changes. Matt Rule's in at Carolina. So what does that mean for Cam Newton? We're not sure, but we'll go ahead and throw him on the list. Cam Newton will blank.
So Cam Newton's going to be changing teams, it looks like. Where he goes, that's a tough one for me. He's a good player. He's a top athlete in the league. If he's healthy, he's definitely going to go somewhere to start, right? I don't think he makes an agreement and goes to sign somewhere where he's not going to get to play. But as I try to rack my brain and think where could he go, I'm, probably potentially one of the ones we've already mentioned. Maybe Miami is in the
I'd say they're in the conversation.
in the picture there. Where else? Maybe we're real surprised, and he's the one that goes to Indianapolis.
I would hate that.
As a Titans fan, I would not enjoy that, but I think he's a gamer, and if he can go there, and again with a quote-unquote quarterback guru, Cam Newton getting in there, and, they're going to be looking in the next couple of years to draft a guy after the Andrew Luck thing anyways.
Right.
Why not bring Cam Newton in there? I like Cam Newton.
I had two teams in the running for this one.
Okay.
First one, that it's an honorable mention, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, Nick Foles, the thing is not working out down there.
They're going to be shopping.
They're going to be shopping, so I could see Matt Rule seeing Nick Foles as a sexy pickup. saying, hey, let's just trade and maybe throw a draft pick or two in there to go get Cam Newton. Cam Newton goes to Jacksonville. But this is the one I picked, the Chicago Bears.
The Bears get Cam Newton.
Yes, I think the Bears, because the situation's better there. You got some decent receivers. You got Trey Burton at tight end. You got a great defense right there. You just need to keep bulking up that line in Chicago. That line in Chicago, by the way, is 10 times better than Carolina.
You got to get some weapons. But you got Allen Robinson. I don't know if I can name another weapon outside of Tariq Cohen. Who else do you have on that? You got to get some weapons, and they're going to look to do that. But if they added Cam Newton, I could see that being a nice
with Cohen and Robinson there. I mean, they've got the beginnings, but they've still got some work to do. And getting Cam there, be a huge piece.
If they are over Trubisky, I think Cam Newton could fit in well there. All right, Chuck, what about Matt Stafford?
Oof. Matthew Stafford. I believe he will be traded to the Dolphins.
All right, hot take. Chuck says Matt Stafford traded to the Dolphins. What about Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott.
Does he get the deal that he's hoping for?
Let's just go ahead and lay it out. He's getting the deal.
He's going to get the deal.
He's going to get paid. Jerry Jones likes to play smoke and mirrors with everybody and just really mess with them. I see right through it. You've got the 5th highest, cap in the league. Quit fucking with us.
Quit fucking with us, man. Go ahead and sign
Just
the guy.
Sign the guy. Give him the deal. He's going to get top 5 money. I don't know if he's going to get the tops money, but he's going to get the money. He's going to remain as a Cowboy. And here's the $1 million question, though. Number 10, Tom freaking Brady.
That's the multi-million-dollar question. Tom Brady could end up in Tennessee, and I'd be happy with it. I wouldn't be totally surprised with some of the links that you're seeing. I think Tom Brady ultimately, though, being realistic, stays in New England. I think they bring in a guy like Stephon Diggs to make him happy.
Right.
And I think he's going to stay probably put in New England. Him and the old ball coach there, him and Bill Belichick go for another ring.
Why not? But I do say this, though. He will still look at potential suitors. He has come out and mentioned he will not do a tour. He will not go travel around the nation to look at teams. They got to come to him. So that makes me wonder, is his heart really into it? I mean, really. If you really wanted out, you would do the tours and stuff and whatnot. But maybe this is a way to say, if you really want me that bad, come and get me. And, I get that. But I think he'll look at his potential suitors, including the Titans. I think the Titans will be one of the top teams in the running. But in the end, ultimately, I think the Patriots will end up working out a deal with him and give him another run.
Hey, like I said, if the GOAT wants to talk contract with the Tennessee Titans, I think you've got to talk a contract and pay the man whatever he wants. If he really wants to come here to chase a ring,
I wouldn't
I'm all for
necessarily say whatever he wants. We need to save our cap for some better players.
As long as we sign Henry, give him a blank check. Let's roll this thing. Let's
now,
go
if you're gonna give a blank check to somebody, it is Henry.
Henry earned it, right?
Oh yeah,
I think he earned it. All right, Chuck. So moving on from some segment talk, let's delve into just some recent happenings going on and some things we got coming up this weekend. You've got the Wilder-Tyson Fury fight.
Ding, ding.
I'm excited for that. I've not tuned into
too.
boxing a ton in years past, like the last decade or so.
Man.
But there's some good fighters right now, and these are two of the best. And coming off that rematch with, I believe Wilder ended up winning the decision in that one, but it could have went either way.
Oh, yeah, it was a dogfight. It was a absolute barn burner.
And he dropped Fury. Fury ended up getting up from that. He gets up on the 10 count. But looking at it, Vegas has it right now. Wilder is the favorite at minus 125, according to Bovada. So basically, if you dropped $100 on Wilder to win, you'd win 80. Fury is plus 105. If you dropped $100, you'd win $105.
It's pretty close. The line's close.
It's close. It's going to be a good fight, and we hope it's going to be a good fight. Again, this is two of the guys that are going to put boxing back on the map here.
Yeah, but what I'm looking forward to in number 2. Are we going to see some distance in the fight? It looked pretty close the last fight. I mean, you couldn't really tell who was going to win the fight. I mean, I honestly thought Fury had the edge.
Fury's so good at juking and jiving and just ducking those punches and
A
playing
man that is
defensive
nearly
game.
7 foot tall that can move like that. That's really awesome. So that'd be a one to watch this weekend.
Deontay Wilder is an animal, though. This guy can just he packs a punch that's phenomenal. And he's just a scary dude.
This reminds me of like a King Kong versus Godzilla kind of fight, man. You just go. I mean, look out Tokyo, look out Las Vegas, look out Los Angeles, wherever they're going to be at. It's going to be a show, man.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's do it, man.
So who do you got in that match?
I'm going to keep with the odds here. I'm going to say Wilder.
All right, so we're both picking Wilder in that one. So taking a look here, I made this list. Let's just run through it real quick. We'll chat about it real quick. The top 5 worst NBA breakups of all time.
Right.
Let's start with what I have at number 5 here, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree.
Okay.
Durant, Westbrook, and Harden when they were with the Oklahoma City Thunder for 3 seasons at the beginning of pretty much all of their careers.
That's scary. That was a scary. I mean, like I said, the Harden thing, though, wasn't really a bad breakup. It was just a dumb move.
That's what we're talking here.
Yeah.
It's just a tragedy that you have those 3 guys and you don't win a ring. Why would you not do everything in your power to keep those 3 together?
I mean, if they could go back, they probably would let Durant walk.
So they played in 3 seasons, right?
Right.
And there's no way you let Durant walk. There's no way. That's crazy.
He walked anyways.
Well, you didn't know that was coming, and that was a different story altogether. So they played 3 seasons together. In those 3 seasons, the Thunder lost to the eventual champions in the playoffs all 3 years.
Right.
The Lakers, the Mavericks, and they lost to the Heat, LeBron's first ring in 2012. So James Harden traded after that, though. Westbrook and Durant played 4 more seasons there in Oklahoma City before Durant ended up, remember they lost to the Warriors in 2016. They blew a 3-1 lead in that. And Durant, one of the biggest choke artists in that, honestly lost a bit of respect when he joined the team that just
he took the old slogan, if you can't beat them, join them.
He sure did. Got a ring that way. And, I can't hate on him too much for that, but he's not, for some reason, I don't know, it took a little bit of a loss in my eyes there when he did that.
It tore down what was something to see in Oklahoma City. I mean, the Harden one, you're like, oh, that sucks, but they still got Westbrook. They still got Durant. Those 2 right there are the 1-2 punch.
Didn't work.
But it didn't work.
It didn't work.
And then when he left, that pretty much shattered that what could have been.
So I think those 3 together, though, it's a tragedy.
It is.
Number 4 on that list of worst NBA breakups of all time, I have Shaq and Penny Hardaway with Orlando back in the day.
I think you got to go higher with that one.
You think it should have been higher?
I think that should be right there at number 2.
I think a lot of these in the top 5
you got to put that top
can
2.
be moved around a bit. But yeah, I mean, the crazy thing, the first real move when LA went to acquire Shaq, right? The first real move to put themselves into position to sign Shaq, probably the greatest draft day trade ever.
Probably.
So in more of an effort to cut some costs, the Lakers sent Vlade Divac to the Hornets for 18-year-old Kobe Bryant and $3.3 million of extra cap space. So they saved money, landed one of the greatest basketball players ever.
Right.
Rest in peace, Kobe. Jerry West and the Lakers then snagged Shaq on a big-time contract and put those 2 together. That we'll revisit here in a second. Number 3 on that list, Chuck, Wilt Chamberlain and the city of Philadelphia.
I think this is the first list that I see where you actually have the city itself.
I mean, if you're Philadelphia, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain being such an iconic figure, how do you not keep him around? And not to mention the summer that they chose to trade Wilt. He was coming off a season in which he averaged 24.3 points, 23.8 rebounds, and 8.6 assists per game. Just not getting it done, Wilt. Sorry.
That's why Philly is, Philly.
There you go.
That's why they're Philly, man. That's why. You got to love Philly, though. They make some questionable moves, but they do it passionately.
Philly.
Oh, Philly.
Good job.
Oh, guys.
Number 2, I have Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki from the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, that sucks. I remember watching those two, especially, in the early 2000s when they were like doing pretty much waging war against the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, think about it. Parker and Duncan versus Nash and Nowitzki. Those were the times.
Man, and then the biggest rivalry, one of my favorite ones, probably through my years of high school, I guess, about that time, was Nash against Dirk. So once they split the two guys up and then Nash playing with Phoenix, those two going back and forth were some of the greatest basketball games. I can still, when I'm just thinking back about just going back and forth offensively.
Yeah, when Nash was with the Suns, that's when he was at his best.
One of my favorite players of all time.
I mean, he made that Suns team better than they should have.
What were they thinking, though? Could you imagine if you just kept – they thought Nash, I guess, was just towards the end of his career or something. They didn't think he had it in him. And he goes to Phoenix, and he is just –
he tears down the house. 1, 2, or 3 MVPs on top of that.
I think he only won one.
I wish, though – I mean, I know Dirk got him a ring. I wish Nash got him one.
You're right. I was hoping the year he went to L.A. that he would. He got hurt. Dwight went there. Things just did not work out.
And I think he saw that was pretty much the end of it, though.
Yeah. I have a L.A. Lakers Steve Nash jersey at home.
Oh, you still got that?
Yeah, it's a prized possession.
Wrap that up, man. You never know.
I sure will.
You
So,
never know.
number one on that list, and I think it's an easy one for anybody. Top 5 worst NBA breakups of all time. Total tragedy. Kobe and Shaq in L.A.
That's obvious. I mean, the reason it's obvious is just because of how impactful it is. I mean, these guys have so many rings, so many championships. I mean, they have 3 together. Shaq has 4 altogether. Kobe has 5. I mean, but 3 together. If they didn't break that off, could you imagine?
They would have won quite a few more.
I think they would have won 6 easily.
And the trade was crazy that when you look at it, too, it set the stage for 2 different teams to win titles. So the Heat got Shaq, paired him with D-Wade. They won the 2006 title. The Los Angeles Lakers in that trade, they got Caron Butler, Bryant Gant, and Lamar Odom in a first-round pick in 2006, a second-round pick in 2007.
Yeah.
And then Lamar Odom was awesome for a few years there. I thought he was a fun player, and it was a big part of helping the Lakers make 3 more trips to the NBA Finals, 2008, 2009, and 2010. So if you remember, L.A. lost to Boston in the first one of those, 2008,
right,
to the Big Three, their first title. They beat Orlando in 2009. If you remember, Dwight Howard and them upset LeBron in the East Championship.
They never stood a chance in that series.
That was pretty wild to see that go down like that.
I mean, they never looked back in that series.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a sweep. It was a whooping.
And then L.A. got the revenge in 2010 against Boston. Kobe's last title there, I believe. He was 6 for 24 from the field in that Game 7 to clinch that. But he scored 10 of his 23 points in the fourth quarter. Finished the game with 15 rebounds.
Stats are stats, but clutch is clutch, man.
Clutch is clutch. Now, you mentioned only 2 assists in that game, too. But one of the greatest scorers, maybe, in my opinion, the greatest scorer of all time in the NBA, Kobe Bryant there. Got his 5th and final ring in that one. Breaking him and Shaq up again, they won 3 together. I think they could have at least doubled that easily.
Oh, I think they would have had 6, maybe even 7.
And unfortunately, we're never going to know.
But when you have egos that big, it never works out.
That's often the case, man. Yeah. What did you think about the NBA All-Star Weekend? You get to catch any of that?
I did. I caught that, and I absolutely love the fourth quarter. Let's just get right to it. The fourth quarter is kind of like 21 basketball. You set a certain score you got to get to, and the one that reaches it wins. That is old school backyard basketball at its finest.
So the game itself, the All-Star game itself you're talking about, and they had that different format where you went to 157, is that right?
Yeah.
So the first team to 157, but they did it in this interesting format too, to where every quarter the score reset, but they would still keep a running tally for the total. But whoever won the quarter, they donated so much money to a charity of that team's
That was
choice.
cool too. That was cool.
Very cool. But I think it was definitely more competitive, especially like you said in the fourth quarter. That was phenomenal. And I was trying to think the other day, I was trying to make a list of like my favorite All-Star games of all time and where this would rank there. And I think this was the most exciting one to watch ever.
I would put it tops because of the fact is not only the fans were getting into it, the players on the bench were getting into it. Even the players' intensity was raising up when they got 5 points away from the score they had to win. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then it ended on a free throw, which some people didn't like, but I don't have a problem with that either.
I don't foul, which, come on, it's the All-Star game.
And he missed the first one. He had 2 free throws there. Anthony Davis, he's at the line.
Right.
He missed the first one, and immediately I was like, damn, I guess there's probably a lot of pressure on that shot, honestly, more so, especially with it being a game shot.
And if they before in the format, they just basically did like a shoot around.
Yeah.
By fourth quarter, people are leaving the stadium, going to a bar, going somewhere, just having a good time. But I didn't see nobody leave. Everybody was into it.
It was competitive.
It was fun.
I thought Team LeBron, who did barely squeak it out, was the much more talented team. It was stacked. I think we clearly saw LeBron's better at picking his team, probably.
The man's smart. I'll give him that. But he needs to stay out of baseball when he knocked on the Astros. You don't have no idea.
Everybody's knocking on the Astros. Let's go ahead and just segue into that. Let's talk about the Astros and these idiots. So we talked about them the last time that we spoke. The story keeps going on and on with the Astros because the more of the story keeps coming out about this to where they cheated for 3 years. They were banging trash cans. They had buzzers under their shirts. What else? They had more crap going on, I'm sure. There's more people coming out and saying, I did cheat. Some saying I didn't cheat. The apologies were pathetic.
I mean, to me, this is a mess. It's an absolute train wreck of a mess. I mean, I've never seen a black stain on a club until now.
They've got to do more about it. The Commissioner Manfred, he's just giving them a small little... he slapped their hand, basically. He's not really done anything substantial enough.
I think they need to forfeit the title.
I think they definitely have to, and I'm not one that normally even says that. I think when they stripped Reggie Bush of the Heisman a few years ago, that was absolutely dumb. But in this case...
50 years from now, when they look at that World Series championship, they'll see cheaters.
Yeah.
And you got to get rid of it. I mean, it's the exact same thing that Reggie Bush did, but Reggie Bush didn't...
Reggie Bush got paid to play football.
But it's cheating.
It was a different version.
But it's a different version of cheating.
You're cheating a system.
You're cheating the rules.
Right. You're cheating a system that a lot of people say is broken and they're looking to fix now.
But they take his Heisman Trophy away. That don't make sense. You actually cheated in a ball game that everybody watches, everybody tunes in.
Well, the difference is they gained a competitive advantage. Like, it is clear, like black and white, night and day.
That's cheating, plain and simple.
The difference in knowing what's coming at you, as far as if you know what the pitch is. I think Canseco even came out and was like, look, man, I think that would be better than being on the juice. He would much rather know the pitch that's coming at him.
Well, I mean, as a baseball player, you played baseball.
Right.
Let's say you were on that Dodgers team.
I'm furious.
You're furious. First of all, you get a chance to play them the next year, and you found out they cheat. Do you take a shot at some of those players?
Of course you do. Those guys are going to get beamed. The MLB tried to lighten some of that by trying to tell guys not to retaliate. There would be some penalties and fines and things like that, but they're going to get beamed.
Oh, I mean, like I said, the black blot, it's basically a target.
Oh, yeah.
You've got players that are just going to key in.
Altuve, Correa, they're going to get beamed left and right.
They have highlighted the New York Yankees game because, as you know, and it made sense because the New York games that they played in, New York dominated them.
Yeah.
And then when they were in Houston, they lost 1 2-run games.
Well, the statistics were crazy. I don't have them in front of me, but as far as home statistics compared to away statistics, huge difference.
Yeah, that's what it didn't make sense to me. Even before I found out when they cheated, I was like, that don't make sense. I was like, because I thought it was like, all thrown. Like it was thrown. Like it was like, they were losing on purpose for some kind of ratings or something.
Oh, no. They're gaining a competitive advantage in
now that we find out
beating teams.
Now that they actually cheated, It makes sense now.
Yeah, I think the punishment, you have to take it away. I think you have to do drastic.
You got to get him out.
It's a disgrace. The more I think about it, initially my reaction was like, okay, you do got to do something fairly harsh, but it is what it is. But no. Like in baseball, especially of all sports, America's pastime, it's a huge smear on the face of all of that. And it's the diehard baseball fans are the ones that are so traditional. They're slow to accept, doing reviews and some of the changes in baseball. For this to happen, those are the people that have to be outraged right now because it's huge. It's a double black eye on the face of the league right now. More keeps coming out of it. There's going to be lawsuits against the Astros from other players that lost compensation based on their performance against them.
We talked about this in the last episode, how it's a domino effect, how it's just affected the Red Sox. It's affected the Mets. Mets, it's affected everybody. So now that we're going into season, it's going to be interesting to see how people receive the Houston Astros. I would hate to be an Astro, period, whether it be a water boy, bat boy, it doesn't matter because you're going to catch hell from everybody.
It's going to be rough.
You're going to have fans saying cheaters. You're going to, like you say, players going to try to come at you with pitches. It's just going to be bad. I mean, they think, the punishment, it's over. It's far from over.
Yeah, you're going to see more come out about this, I'm sure, too. But as far as my feelings on the Astros right now, they've got to do more. I don't know exactly what that is, but it has to be done. The players are demanding it. Fans are demanding it. I think they have to vacate those titles. Nobody wins it that year. I think they have to do more to the players themselves.
It's bad when the commissioner is actually having to come out and defend not doing enough.
Oh, right. And final thought on this. The only way that I can explain it to myself as far as the way that it's gone down so far and the way he's been so light as far as with punishment, maybe this is more of a widespread issue in the MLB.
True.
In different ways in different teams, and he's just trying not to push the envelope too much to open up a bigger can of worms.
True.
That's the only way I could rationalize.
It's not asking too much to vacate the title. I don't think it's asking too much.
Vacate it.
You blatantly
suspend
cheated.
Those cheaters. Bunch of cheating asses down there in Houston.
I feel like they've done all the suspending that they're going to do. I'm talking about vacating the title. It's obvious they're cheaters.
If they can ban Pete Rose, I think they can ban Altuve.
Exactly. Pete Rose also I think needs to be forgiven.
I agree.
He needs to be forgiven. But right now we don't need to forgive the Astros. And you know what? Their players are coming out saying, well, come at us. We'll prove you wrong. We'll go. Just shut up.
Right.
Y'all cheated. Even whether you're involved or not, you're going to have that dark cloud over you all season. Take your lick and go on.
Agreed. Another little tidbit in MLB news, Mookie Betts traded from Boston to L.A., which is crazy. Maybe the
rich get richer.
Maybe the number 2 overall player in the entire league. And the funny story, I was bowling state tournament in Murfreesboro just a couple weeks ago. So literally Saturday, the day before that trade got finalized after the initial setbacks, I'm bowling at Lanes, Trains, and Automobiles in Murfreesboro. It's the state tournament team event. And one of my buddies, one of the 3 Jeffs of my team, says, hey, look, Mookie Betts is down there bowling. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you're full of shit. Sure enough, man, like 4 lanes over is Mookie Betts, and he's killing it with the team that he normally plays with. And I didn't realize he was even from the area. So I wasn't all weird about it. I waited until we got done, fist bumped him, gave him a heads up as far as, bigger fan now that I realize you're a phenomenal bowler too, and we bowled in the same tournament together. Got a little quick picture with him, whatnot. Tried to nudge him to, find his way to the Braves somehow, but that didn't work out. He's going to be like a $400 million man next year. He's going to get paid what he deserves.
You look at the Dodgers now. You got Cody Bellinger, who is already a stud player, and you add Mookie Betts.
The rich getting richer, like you said.
Oh, God, it's
And Boston
scary.
just imploding. Boston, jeez. And everybody in that fan base is just, it's on fire right now.
Dumpster fire.
It absolutely is.
Well, they're trying to catch up with the Yankees, and they just took a 10-step back rule when they just got rid of Mookie Betts.
Yeah, they traded one of the greatest players in the game, an already Hall of Famer, for some prospects.
That's horrible. Horrible.
Fuck them, though. Hey, go Braves.
I doubt it.
Go Braves.
I made my prediction earlier about it.
All right, let's hit on one more little list here. So I also ran across this list. Let's run through it, get our thoughts. We'll do a quick wrap-up and get on out of here, Chuck. So I ran across a list that said the 14 most exciting athletes in the world right now.
Okay.
And let's just start with number one. We'll run down through the top 5 and hit a couple honorable mentions here. Number one, most exciting athlete in the world, according to this list, playoff LeBron James. Can you even disagree with that?
No, I can't. I'm as bad as I want to, but watching LeBron just go into that mode in the playoffs.
Zero dark 30.
Well, it's just you look at the playoffs he had when they came back against the Warriors in the finals, and they had that Game 7 where he won his first championship for Cleveland.
And even the one prior where he played his ass off after Kyrie got hurt. One of the best playoff performances you've ever seen. And I went on this list. I was watching the top 100 plays of the decade, I think, in the NBA. And there were so many on it from like the Miami Heat and just LeBron James in general. Some already from like this season that you just forget what a stud that guy is. And some of the teams he's drug into the finals.
It's just the dude's competitor. He wants to win at all cost. And you can tell how pissed off he is when he loses.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, he could score 50 points in a game, and a lot of players would be happy with that individual stat. Not LeBron James.
If there's a knock on the guy, a lot of people say that he makes the wrong move sometimes to where they want him to take the shot and be selfish, and he'll pass on it from time to time. But playoff LeBron James, a different animal.
Well, he's not a selfish player now. I'm starting to see that more. He's more of a contributor, too. He knows if he wants to win, he's got to have that team around him.
Now, you're right. But playoff LeBron James, number one. Number two, Tiger Woods.
Is he back?
Tiger Woods is back, baby. He is back. He won the Masters last year. He just, I think, finished dead last in this last tournament. But you know what? He's been a little up and down. I think he's back on the babes. And he's back, period. That's his secret ingredient is just having a couple of ladies of the night from time to time.
Yes.
And he's found his groove. Tiger Woods has his mojo back.
I agree. I mean, every time I see Tiger Woods go on a green, man, it's just like it's greatness with a club. He's walking out there. You know he means business. Win or lose, he just got that strut. You just know he is the guy.
And how exciting is it if you have a Sunday, you're sitting back and you're able to tune into some golf. Tiger's wearing the red. He's in the hunt on the final day of the tournament on Sunday, no matter what tournament, especially the Masters.
The Masters last year gave me goosebumps.
Phenomenal.
The last day, black pants, black shoes, red shirt, black Tiger hat. You know it is on.
Me and Dad watched it together. We were fist pumping off the couch, man.
I have got goosebumps right now. That was a phenomenal moment in my sports life because the way he came back through all the adversity, through his injuries, through the controversy, and he had that moment.
A lot of people writing him off. He'll never win another major.
And
he did. You were one of them, Chuck.
I was one.
You hated on Tiger Woods. Hey.
Oh, man. But I have standards. He
won your heart back over, though.
He did. And, I wanted to cry. It was awesome.
Number 3 on this list, most exciting players in sports right now, Mike Trout.
I don't doubt it. The dude is a straight-up baller on the baseball field.
I think most people agree he's the best player in the league right now. Him and Mookie is probably 1A, 1B.
He's just on a bad team. He's on a bad team. I think the Angels are not a good team.
Yeah, they've not spent their money wisely.
No. And that's a shame. But Trout goes out there and balls out for his team every time.
Hey, I can't knock that.
He is the best outfielder I have ever seen.
He's a phenom.
That dude, his timing on grabbing outs is incredible.
I agree.
He times it on the wall perfectly.
Great defensive player. He's a slugger too.
Yeah, just him just watching in the outfield, even if he didn't hit a ball in his life, just watching him in the outfield alone is magic. It's art. It's beautiful. He's even got his own shoe that tells you how impactful he is.
For sure, those cleats are pretty cool too.
Pretty slick.
So moving on to number 4, we're going to hit football finally.
Mm.
Do you agree with this, Chuck? Patrick Mahomes, one of the most exciting figures in sports right now. I don't think that you can disagree with that.
Well, I mean, the numbers are there. The trophies are there.
He won a title.
I mean, he won the league MVP the year before he won the Super Bowl. And he was
broke
MVP.
the Madden curse. He was on Madden and won the Super Bowl this year.
I mean, I not got nothing against the guy. I have against that everybody hypes him up so hard.
I agree.
I have never seen so many analysts on ESPN, Fox Sports, NFL that just want to pump this guy up so hard.
He's playing at a high level. He's got a lot of weapons around him. And the thing is, though, he's using them very well. I think he definitely belongs on this list.
But
though.
I've got to look at it from this standpoint. It's just it's awesome to watch him.
2 years as a starter, NFL League MVP and Super Bowl MVP. A pretty nice start to a career.
Imagine if he started his rookie year.
Oh, yeah. Right. Alex Smith started most of that year.
And we probably would have won that game and come back and won. You know that, right?
We'll never know.
We'll never know. We don't have to worry about that. Never.
Number 5, we'll hit tennis. Serena Williams.
The Lioness.
Yep, still the best player in her sport. I mean, and probably the best player in her sport ever. I think that goes without saying. But is she to you? Do you get excited watching? I
love
Serena
when she
Williams
gets
play?
passionate about it. Like when I watch some of the highlights, I'm sorry, I'm just going to come out and say it, I do not watch tennis. I think it's boring. But when they do highlights of her getting so emotional over an out or something, I mean, it's not just saying that, oh, she's a jerk or something. No. Man, if that out is going to set the difference from her winning the game, she is so competitive. She's like Johnny McEnroe in a way without...
She's a big-time competitor. Lots of
Super
rackets broken,
competitor.
lots of judges,
Lots of
feelings
screaming.
broken. Those line judges and her don't get along often, but she's phenomenal.
And doesn't hurt that she's very beautiful.
She's a pretty lady.
Very pretty.
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Oh, man. But the honorable mention, I see Conor McGregor. He shouldn't even be mentioned.
Yeah, he's listed here at number 8, Conor McGregor. Exciting. He'll sell tickets. I can agree with that. They have Lionel Messi at 7.
That's good.
Ovechkin comes in at number 9.
Federer and versus Nadal, that is cool.
That comes in at number 10. That matchup alone is phenomenal and should be higher, I think.
Like I said, I don't watch tennis. I don't even know what that is.
Right. I think Federer's hurt right now. But especially in their prime, about 5-6 years ago.
That's like Muhammad Ali and Tyson in the same ring, and it's a brawl, man.
You're right about that.
It's a brawl, man. But, hey, speaking of brawl, we're going to see a good brawl this weekend, so I'm excited about that.
You're right. You're still you're talking Fury, Wilder.
That's still in my mind.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for it. And, again, boxing hasn't been at the forefront of a lot of sports talk or hasn't been on the headlines, a lot of ESPN channels and websites and things like that. But you know what? They could be making a comeback here. They've got a lot of good talent, like we mentioned earlier. This fight alone should be phenomenal. I'm going to say that, and there's going to be like a round 1 knockout. But if it goes that way, I think it's definitely Wilder who lands that knockout punch.
If it's anything like half of the first fight, we're in for a great show.
For sure.
But let's do a 2-minute thought before we get out of here.
What you got, Chuck? Go right ahead.
All right, my 2-minute thought, and I'll close on this. As you know, if what's this guy's name? Robertson of the Browns, man, had 157 pounds of marijuana that he was caught with, man. And it goes to show you that people take things for granted. Robertson, this young guy, making a lot of money in the NFL. Yes, he was cut, but he was probably going to get signed to another team. But at the end of the day...
Former number 2 overall pick in 2014.
Exactly.
157 pounds of pot.
That's a lot.
When you got bankroll like a dude like Greg Robinson, why in the hell are you the one smuggling the drugs? And why are you smuggling weed? It's legal in a lot of places in this country.
And especially, I mean, it'd be different if it was 15 pounds, but 157 pounds.
Holy shit.
But in most cases, if you're just a regular person like me and Ryan here, we're probably going to get life sentences altogether.
Yeah, I don't know how all that stuff works.
But
he's going to get some prison time.
But it makes me sad. You know, me and Ryan were humble guys, you know, working regular jobs during the week, taking care of our families and whatnot. And there's these guys out here that just care about themselves, trying to figure out a way to make more money, even though they've got enough money. And they probably, like I said, Greg Robinson could have been signed to another team, but forget about it. That dream's dead, in my opinion.
I think you're right, Chuck. If I'm in his shoes, I'd do things totally differently.
Well, that's my 2-minute thought right there. What about you, Ryan? You got anything you want to add, brother?
Yeah, so to add on to that, I would do things differently. I would pay a drug mule because I make way too much money to be doing that myself,
Calculated, man.
If you're too dumb to do illegal things, maybe you should stop doing illegal things.
Look at you,
right?
man.
Jesus Christ.
Look at you.
What is wrong with this guy?
It's just what's wrong with the league, period.
What is, there's a lot of good things going on with the NFL.
But,
the MLB's got some issues right now. They're working through. The NFL, it's never been better, in my opinion. I think this last season was exciting.
It's gotten better.
Again, we hit on some XFL. That's fun. It's going on right now. Baseball's about to get started up. Basketball's fun. Go Grizzlies.
Everybody thinks that football is over, but hey, like you said, we got opening day. We got March Madness coming around, and
the NFL never sleeps.
We
Masters,
got
the draft coming up. The Masters coming up
soon.
So
are we going to see another Tiger moment again?
Oh my goodness! I don't know if I could contain myself.
Oh gosh,
that would be phenomenal.
You can wear that shirt, ain't you?
I'm going to be wearing this shirt. Yeah, definitely. If he's in the hunt on day 7.
Since you can't see
bad radio here, go ahead and explain what we're looking at.
What I'm looking at here, I'm looking across from Ryan right now. He's wearing back Tiger shirt. And it's red, and bless his heart, I think it's a cool shirt.
Pretty damn cool shirt.
Yeah,
it's a Barstool Sports shirt. Shout out to those guys. Free shout out to those guys. But cool shirt.
Yes.
Let's go Tiger. Let's hope he is in the hunt. I don't know. Absolutely. I can't make any predictions in that regard.
And let's go Grizzlies. Let's see if we can make a run for the
playoffs. Go Grizzlies.
And I'm not a Braves fan, but you are, so I guess it's go Braves for you.
Let's go Braves. Get behind them, Chuck. This is the year you could find you a team, and you might as well jump on the Braves bandwagon.
I do watch baseball, but I just don't have me a team. I'm more of an in-state guy.
Well, maybe we'll find you your team, Chuck.
It might be the Braves.
Maybe you come on to join the force. Maybe maybe you join the dark side.
Maybe I'll go to the Empire itself.
The Yankees.
Ugh. Oh, come on. The pinstripes look good.
Oh, God. Don't get me started.
But I'm not a New York guy, though.
Chuck, man, my final thought. Happy to get to sit down and talk some sports again.
It's cool, man.
We'll make this more of a common occurrence, not maybe a set schedule or anything, but if we see something we want to talk about, by God, we'll do it. We'll get some stuff out there. We'll have some more ways to interact with some folks that are listening if you're listening to this. And, again, just happy to be here, happy to throw some thoughts down and hang out with you, buddy. It's been a good time.
It's been always a good time with you, Ryan, and I look forward to many, many more in the future.
Wrapping things up for the Run and Shoot podcast, I'm Ryan.
I'm Chuck, man.
Y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir. Man, it's John Gruden, man. We got that Run and Shoot podcast with them boys down in Tennessee named Chuck and Ryan. Come and check it out.